got the green. They have to accelerate down this long straightaway and almost come to a stop for that first turn. It's a 180-degree hairpin. Now, you always look for something on the first turn of the first lap and hope these guys get through it, and it looks like Willie T. Ribbs is through the first turn. He's followed by his teammate, Greg Pickett, and David Hobbs in the Diatley Corvette, then Paul Miller and young Darren Brassfield in the other Diatley Corvette.
I'm back from my wind-blown ride in the pace car and picking up the action here in turn 2. This course is very narrow. These cars, you'll notice it as we go along toward the back part of the course. There are concrete walls along each side, and a number of cars have kissed those walls during practice this weekend. Narrow, bumpy, difficult, and there goes a hood flying up in the air, somebody in the back part of the pack. Now we can see, as we were describing a moment ago, how close these concrete walls are to the edge of the course. See them stringing around there. Now, if anybody makes the most minor mistake, bang into the wall they go. There's the leader, Willie T. Ribbs, and the number 64, Roush Protofab Mercury Capri, heading around the last turn and back out onto the start-finish line straightaway once again.
John, we've got to make note here that Tom Gloy's already started to make his move. On the first turn of the first lap, he'd already passed several cars, and he's working his way up through this pack.
We'll keep an eye on Gloy's progress during the course of the day. Our leaders now heading back to turn 1. It's Ribbs and Pickett, the teammates, now running 1 and 2. David Hobbs, the defending Trans Am champ in the red Corvette, the number 1 car, in 3rd place. And we have a quick look at Les Lindley, the car that lost his hood just a few moments ago. We'll be back with more of the Texas Challenge Trans Am following these messages. Back to the action of the Texas Challenge Trans Am with Willie T. Ribbs in the lead, and that red Corvette, David Hobbs, now in 2nd place, having passed Greg Pickett. There's Les Lindley, the car that lost the hood a moment ago. There's another part flying off. Mike, isn't this guy a moving hazard?
Well, that's a judgment call by the stewards. If he keeps having problems, they'll surely call him in.
Whoa, Pancho Weaver spins out and then picks up his act once again to get back on the track. There's Tom Gloy. He has now moved up through half the field. He's now in 11th place, heading toward the front of the pack as he goes. Remember, he's seeking the championship here today. Les Lindley is in the pits, and here's Mike Brockman.
Les has had problems since the beginning of the race when he lost that hood. Now they're removing that front fender. They're going to try to get him back out into the fight.
Out on the track once again, we see David Hobbs currently in 2nd place. This is better than he's done almost all season. They've had an awful time with that series of cars in the Diatley camp. Lindley heads back out onto the track once again. A quick look at 3rd place man Greg Pickett, followed by Darren Brassfield in the Corvette. That is Richard Wall in the blue Camaro, followed by the white Porsche driven by Paul Miller. David Hobbs, the 2nd place man, is in the pits. Here is Mike Brockman.
David, you were running 2nd. You were running strong. Looked like you were staying with Willie. What happened?
Well, the drive shaft broke, and just adds to the complete season. Absolute out of luck all the time. I mean, saw it last week at Riverside. We had a flat tire when I would have been a real good 2nd, and Sears Point, I got pushed off the road, and now we're going fine. The only other competitive car there, drive shaft break. So just, you know, I can't say I'm disappointed I've got over that now.
A tough season for the defending Trans Am champion. Our leader once again, Willie T. Ribbs, out in front, looking very tidy as he goes, and there is another Corvette, the Diatley car driven by Darren Brassfield, off the road and parked. And there's Paul Miller's Porsche shedding parts as he goes. Parts flying off from the left side of that car. When we get around the corner here, we'll be able to see what's happening with it. That fire, by the way, is no problem. That's a turbocharger overrun there. Now we can see that, yes, the left rear fender coming apart. He's either hit a car or the wall. Behind Paul Miller, you see Richard Wall in the blue Camaro, and tight right behind Wall, you see the teammate of Wally Dallenbach Jr., Dennis Ossie, who is best known as an IMSA racer. This weekend, he is here driving the 2nd Colorado Connection Camaro. Here is our leader, Willie T. Ribbs, keeping it between the fences very nicely. Behind him, you'll see P.J. Browlier, a California driver, then Tom Walker in the Pontiac Fiero. That's John Brandt in the Corvette, and coming into the pits is Paul Miller.
I'm surprised they haven't brought Paul in earlier. That fender's been flopping in the breeze ever since the very first lap. The real story down here is the car that was in 2nd place. Greg Pickett is in the pits. He must have a problem with the gear lever. He's banging on it. We've got a crew member leaning in the window trying to adjust or fix something and get him back out there so he'll have a chance to salvage this championship.
That's Lou Camaro as new second place man Richard Wall of Arcadia, California. He is being pursued by the number 88 Camaro, driven by Dennis Aussie. There's Aussie moving by a back marker and heading up toward the 180-degree first turn. And he'll get on the brakes before he makes that hard left-hander, moving in from the outside line. Takes it around and moves around without any problem. He is pursuing Richard Wall at this point. His teammate, Wally Dallenbach Jr., has already dropped out of this race with a push rod problem. Wally, one of the bright up-and-coming stars in this series. It's a shame that he's had to drop out at this point.
John, someone we've got to keep an eye on is John Jones. He started in the 5th row in the 3rd Roush Protofab Capri. He's been moving steadily up through the field. We better keep an eye on him.
Talk about young drivers. Jones is still a teenager. Very talented youngster out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. Our leader once again passing by, threading his way through traffic carefully and keeping away from those walls. Willie T. Ribbs out in the lead. And there is Tom Gloy sitting beside the court, and we have a spin. The number 31 car, that's Gary Fritz Jones, who comes to rest there. Traffic moving by him. Tom Gloy is walking away from his car now, and with Greg Pickett in the pits, if Pickett can get back out and race some more, he still has a chance at the championship. If he can't, then Gloy will take the championship sitting beside the road. What an anticlimactic way of winning a crown.
John, here's another apparent victim of this rough-tough racetrack, Pancho Weaver. And with a look at our standings, Willie T. Ribbs is still in the lead. We'll be back with action in just a moment.